Hello and welcome to Arts Way Out second episode, a German-Israeli cultural initiative created with the German embassy here in Israel. My name is Anat Safran, and today I will have a talk with Ronen Itzhaki and Ludger Schnieder from Germany. Hello, Ludger and Ronen.
Hi.
Hi.
So Ludger Schnieder is the managing director and the artistic director of the Pumpenhaus theater in Münster. He's also the co-artistic director of the festival Flurstucke, I hope I said it right, and a member of advisory boards in various regional and state organizations in Germany. And Ronen Itzhaki is a choreographer and the founder and director of Between Heaven and Earth organization, which is a cultural organization that reflects on contemporary culture and traditional Jewish thinking. So welcome. I'm really happy that you can have this talk. So when I was first introduced to your work, both of you, the first thing that I felt was surprise. Because for you, Ludger, when we think about culture in Germany, first of all, we think about Berlin, maybe some other big cities. But especially if we think of a more contemporary critical creation, we won't necessarily think about smaller cities, and we're not very much aware of the great creativity that happens outside of the center. So when I heard about the theater and its program and the festival in Münster, which is a 300,000 inhabitant city, I think,
Yeah.
I was very surprised. So can you please tell us a little bit about the theater and the festival, and also the connection they have to the city and the program?
Berlin was not a kind of very big hotspot before the German reunification, because it was really a kind of very isolated island, so to say. And most of the things happened outside of Berlin, and the Berlin people were pretty happy when stuff was being imported. That doesn't count for some big institutional theaters, but the so-called off scene was really not developed, really. So that's basically a result of politics since 20 years. The situation for Pumpenhaus and for Münster, when you have a kind of middle-sized German city, is in a certain way pretty special because there's a very high rate of students. And Pumpenhaus basically started as an initiative from groups of students which were educated in pedagogics, psychology, sociology, and these were the very, very little starting points of a kind of independent theater movement, which was very much influenced by, on the one hand, clowning, improvisation, so-called new dance, and it was not linked with, let's say, traditional talky theater. And that actually made the starting point of Pumpenhaus, and this group basically entered an old water pumping station in '84, renovated it mostly by themselves with public funding, and we opened a theater there in May '85, and the very first big production was such a hit that we suddenly had a theater which we never intended to have, because we just wanted to be more kind of open project. Our programmation is very, very diverse.
Yeah.
Starting with really local artists, then being, of course, on the national and then on the international scene, and that we have about 150 performances during 1 year inside the theater.
The surprise feeling was even stronger when I first heard about your work, Ronen, because contemporary dance is not necessarily the first thing that comes to mind when you think about Jewish Orthodox men. So it was really a great surprise to discover the ensemble Kaet, the dancers, and especially the work and the way they have managed to find a new way of expression, which is very personal and combining their background with contemporary dance, with performing arts, and also being so creative and making all these experiences in so many different also fields. So can you please tell us a little bit about this organization and all the different projects that it includes?
It was about in the 90s that a group of people, young people, about 20 years old, something like this, from a yeshiva, which is the educational system of the Orthodox Jewish in Israel. So a group of people from a yeshiva asked to speak in a different language which they didn't speak before. So they came to Akko Theater Center. I was working there, and they asked if they can work with their body. It was a kind of experiment for them to speak in a new language. That's how we met. More and more students joined this project, and from a little project that I did on the side, it became my main project that I'm doing, with a lot of other colleagues who came from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem to teach contemporary dance. And then when the first group of graduates from the school of 3 days a week wanted to work together, we did our first piece it was in 2010 in Jerusalem. And we were very lucky that a very important writer from the New York Times came accidentally to this first piece of us, to the premiere of the first piece of a group. She wrote a story in the New York Times, and we got a lot of invitations from all over the world, and a lot of people spoke about it. They say that it's very unique and special. For us, it was kind of obvious to move in a certain way that men move like, and also to use the background of Jewishness as a good framework as a creation, and to bring together the ancient world and the contemporary worlds together. So that's what we're doing.
So you have collaborated in the past, both at the festival and in the theater. How did you hear about the group?
Basically, I heard that there would be something very interesting happening from friends of mine who were in Jerusalem, in the Jerusalem Dance Festival, and he told me, if you are looking out for something which might be interesting, look at that. So I invited Ronen and his wife to come to Münster to talk about this festival and to look for special locations where it would make sense to do parts of their old productions, or even create something new, or let's say reshape it or reformat it. And I had a very good feeling after this meeting, and I thought, okay, we will do it. Let's take the risk. No risk, no fun.
And how was it for you, Anand, this experience?
I didn't know what to expect. I thought that Münster is a little city and it's a little festival, but then I saw that Flurstucke is something that we can just dream about something like this in Israel. It's a huge festival with a lot of locations during the same time for several days, and several institutions are collaborating together, which is also something that we cannot see in Israel. And another thing which is amazing is that the whole city know about it and participate in it. There is no fee for the tickets, and we never experienced such a beautiful festival that everybody celebrated together.
And the festival, yeah, basically the very first festival, which was not called Flurstucke at that time, was created in, hold on a second, 1989. It was basically an initiative from me and the former director of the cultural department, because I was getting so bored by just doing programmation indoors. And there was this very big visual arts project called Skulpturprojekte, which is one of the very famous things in Europe or worldwide every 10 years. And I was very inspired how they were dealing with art in public spaces, visual art in public spaces. And I thought, come on, for Christ's sake, that it's possible for theater too. It's or for dance or performance or music, not always to stick to your to the building where you are normally working. So, and that was a starting point, basically, of doing a project in the summertime in public spaces. In the last edition, in these 4 days, we attracted nearly, a little bit more than 30,000 spectators, means 10% of the city. And everything was for free, and it was a very, very diverse programmation.
I really wish I could be there because it really looks amazing. And I think there's something very interesting in the fact that it's still a local festival, but the program is international. I really like the way it just takes over the city.
So our basic idea with the festival is to change the rhythm of life in the city.
And it works.
Yeah, for 4 days it works, and after that you are really burnt out.
Okay, so let's talk about our new presence now, our new situation worldwide. So it's been a few months since this coronavirus appeared in our life. I'm curious, what were you working on when it happened, and what were you doing later, and how did it influence your creation? Ronen, you're in the middle of working on your new space, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing project. We work on it for several years, but now it's the renovation process. And in the first time of the corona, everybody were panicked. But then the next step was to understand that now we can renovate it, and like a chicken that sit on the egg in a very tranquil atmosphere, to take the time and to prepare the 2,000 square meters in a relaxed mode. It's something that we are not usual to work in a relaxed mode, and also to take this opportunity for a better process of thinking and understanding what we do and how we want to work, and also possibility to balance the relations between family, work, and home, and office, and studio. So it was, I think, a good time to rethink about our what is our setting, how we want to work with people, with productions.
And you also did this open call for short videos.
Yeah, one thing that we did, and it was very amazing because it was very quick, but this project came almost like an instant. We did an open call for videos from the home, from the apartment or next to the house, and we got about 100 emails.
Yeah.
We choose 10 of them. The next step is that our festival going to be these 10 people who did this video. Or usually they are not video people, they are not video artists, they are choreographers who did videos. And now they are going to do a takeoff live on the video. This is the next step.
Basically, of course, the situation, I mean, we are basically turned upside down because we are in lockdown concerning public performances since end of March, and we will reopen hopefully in end of August, beginning of September. But then with all these social distancing things and blah, 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 makes you think quite a lot. First, let's say, basically about yourself and how you are dealing with your reality. And then, of course, secondly, professionally. And then now this professional thing is, of course, the main thing I'm now working on. But I was reading a lot and trying to find, or let's say, to define new ways also concerning international work, which will fit the time as long as this coronavirus will be somehow living or viral, because we cannot just go back to the days before. That's impossible, I think. So I thought, why not make it now really different? Concentrate more on the local work and try to make small but stable and longer continuing connections between directors or between companies from countries which are really around Germany.
So this brings us to the future. Any future collaborations you have in mind?
Our productions will be, I think, about being at home and what is the meaning of home. We also want to develop the beautiful relations that we have with Yoshiko and Rolf, which are working in the Pumpenhaus in a residency center. We already established trust between us, which is a lot, and we want to develop this collaboration. Hopefully, we will do it. Maybe some of it will be by Zoom, and some of it will be in Münster, or some of it will be in Jerusalem. It's not sure during the Corona situation, but we look forward.
Now, just at this very moment, I would have not a very clear idea what to program for the festival, I have to say. But the next edition is in 2022, so it's still time. It's enough time. And let's say, for example, when we are collaborating with Gaet or with Ronen, when they also know this kind of time horizon, both sides can think about things which are normally not happening, because you have a quite long perspective in planning. And let's say, whom would you also like to invite? Whom would they like to work with? Let's say, which choreographers here from Germany or from Belgium would be interesting for them to meet, even if it's not a direct result, but it would be nice, let's say, if there some exchange could happen. So basically, I think it's like, I would always say, let's make the friendship more dense.
Yes, that's a good conclusion, I think. I really hope you'll be able to make something together. I think it's great. And this year it's the 55th anniversary for diplomatic relations between Israel and Germany. So there's a lot of cultural collaboration that are created usually in this kind of moments. So maybe it's even a better moment to do something together.
Hope so.
Yes. And I really wish we could fly soon and we can actually come to the theater, and in a few years definitely come to the festival.
Yeah.
And you have to come to the new space.
Yeah. Because let's say, I mean, Zooming is one thing. Really meeting and eating together and drinking together is something really different.
Obviously.
Yeah.
All right. So
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And you are welcome to our festival, of course, next year or whenever, no, in 22. And if you like to come before, you will be my guest.
Definitely.
Ronen,
Thank you.
of course, too.
And you're welcome here, huh? In Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv.
Okay.
Okay.
So, good luck.
Thank
Good luck.
you. Thank you so much.
Danke. Danke.
Bitte.
Good.
Bye bye.